What's going on, Lakers Nation? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your home for all the breaking news, exclusive updates, and in-depth analysis on our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. Today, I've got something that's going to shake you to your core, something that represents a seismic shift in how we need to think about this franchise moving forward. This isn't just another roster update or injury report. This is about the very identity of the Lakers, about legacy, about transition, and about what happens when greatness meets the inevitable march of time. Stay with me through every single word of this, because what I'm about to break down will change how you see this team for the rest of the season and beyond. Let me start by taking you back to a moment that feels like yesterday, but also like a lifetime ago. When LeBron James signed with the Lakers, it was supposed to be the beginning of a new dynasty. The King was coming to Hollywood, bringing his championship pedigree, his basketball IQ, his leadership, and his ability to elevate everyone around him. And for a while, it worked exactly as planned. We got banner number 17, we got to witness greatness in purple and gold, we got to experience what it means to have one of the greatest players in NBA history wearing our colors and competing for championships. Those memories are forever etched in Lakers history, and nothing can take that away from us. But here's the thing about professional sports that we all know but sometimes don't want to acknowledge. Time is undefeated. It doesn't matter how great you are, how hard you work, how much you take care of your body. Eventually, Father Time catches up with everyone, and what we're witnessing right now with the Lakers is something that very few franchises in NBA history have had to navigate. We're watching a transition happen in real time, a shift from one era to another, and it's happening in a way that nobody could have predicted just a year ago. The Lakers are currently sitting at 15 wins and 4 losses. Let me say that again for emphasis, 15-4. That's one of the best records in the entire Western Conference. That's the kind of start that has championship written all over it. That's the kind of basketball that gets Lakers fans excited about what's possible this season. And here's what makes it even more remarkable. Some of those wins, some of those dominant performances, some of those nights where we looked like legitimate title contenders, they happened without LeBron James on the floor. That's not a criticism of LeBron. That's not diminishing what he's meant to this organization. That's just stating a fact that has massive implications for how we need to think about the future. Early in the season, when LeBron was dealing with some physical issues and the team had to play without him, something unexpected happened. The Lakers didn't just survive, they thrived. They won games convincingly. They played with energy and pace. They moved the ball beautifully, and most importantly, other players stepped up and showed they could carry the load. That's when people around the league started asking a question that would have been unthinkable just a few months ago. Where does LeBron James fit in this new version of the Lakers? Now, before anyone jumps down my throat, let me be crystal clear about something. LeBron James at age 41 can still play at an incredibly high level. Even dealing with sciatica, even managing his minutes, even sitting out games for load management. When he's on the court, he's still producing at a level that most players in this league could only dream of. He's still averaging over 20 points per game. He's still making plays that only a handful of people in basketball history could make. He's still showing that basketball IQ that has defined his entire career. The man can still hoop. There's no question about that whatsoever. But here's where the conversation gets complicated, and this is where we need to have an honest discussion about what's best for the Lakers organization moving forward. This isn't about what LeBron can or can't do on the basketball court. This is about age. This is about the future. This is about building something sustainable that can compete for championships not just this year, but for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's where everything changes when you look at the current roster construction and the moves that have been made. Let me take you back to February, to a moment that absolutely rocked the NBA world and sent shockwaves through Lakers Nation. The trade that nobody saw coming, the move that changed everything. Anthony Davis, our dominant big man, our defensive anchor, the player we thought would be the cornerstone of this franchise for years to come, was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And coming back the other way was Luka Doncic. Yes, you heard that correctly. Luka Doncic, one of the best players in the entire world, an MVP candidate, a generational talent who at just 26 years old is already putting up numbers that put him in conversations with the all-time greats. That trade polarized the entire basketball world. Some people thought the Lakers had lost their minds giving up Anthony Davis. Others saw it as a brilliant move to secure the future of the franchise. And now, months later, we can start to evaluate what that trade really means for the direction of this organization. Luka Doncic is not just playing well in a Lakers uniform, he's absolutely dominating. He's putting up MVP-caliber numbers. He's making everyone around him better. He's showing that same ability to control games that we've watched him display in Dallas for years. But now he's doing it in the biggest market in basketball under the brightest lights, with the pressure and expectations that come with being a Laker. And he's thriving in that environment. The chemistry between Luka and the rest of the roster has developed faster than anyone could have anticipated. The pick-and-roll action, the ball movement, the way he creates open shots for teammates, it's all clicking at a level that has this team looking like a legitimate championship contender. And then there's Austin Reaves. Oh man, let me tell you about Austin Reaves. This kid has been the most surprising breakout story of the entire 2025-26 season. We always knew he had talent. We always knew he had that grit and competitiveness that Lakers fans love. But what he's doing this year has exceeded everyone's wildest expectations. He's not just a role player anymore. He's not just a guy who gives you solid minutes off the bench. Austin Reaves has elevated his game to the point where he's a legitimate third option on a championship-caliber team. His scoring has increased. His playmaking has improved. His defense has gotten better. And most importantly, his confidence is through the roof. When you watch him play now, you see a guy who knows he belongs on this stage, who's not afraid of big moments, who can create his own shot and make plays when the game is on the line. So now we have this fascinating dynamic on the Lakers roster. You've got Luka Doncic, who is clearly the face of the franchise, the guy that everything runs through, the present and the future of Lakers basketball. You've got Austin Reaves, who has emerged as a legitimate star in his own right, somebody who can score 20-plus on any given night and impact winning in multiple ways. And then you've got LeBron James, one of the greatest players in basketball history, still capable of elite production, but dealing with the physical limitations that come with being 41 years old and having played more minutes than almost anyone in NBA history. Here's where things get really interesting, and this is the part that's going to generate the most discussion and debate among Lakers fans. According to some very prominent voices in basketball media, specifically Stephen A. Smith, who has never been shy about sharing his opinions, the Lakers would trade LeBron James if given the opportunity. Now, let me unpack that statement because it's loaded with implications and it requires some serious analysis to understand what's really being said here. Stephen A. Smith, love him or hate him, is one of the most connected people in basketball media. He talks to executives, he talks to agents, he talks to players. He has his finger on the pulse of what's happening around the league. And when he goes on record saying that the Lakers would trade LeBron if they could, that's not just hot take radio. That's someone sharing information that he's hearing from people within the industry. Now Smith was very careful to clarify what he meant by that statement. He's not saying that LeBron can't play anymore. He's not saying that LeBron is washed or that he's hurting the team. In fact, Smith went out of his way to praise LeBron's game, saying that even at 41 with sciatica issues, LeBron can come back and average over 20 points per game. That's high-level production from any player at any age. But here's the key part of Smith's analysis, and this is where the logic becomes impossible to argue with, even if it's difficult to accept emotionally. The reason the Lakers would potentially move on from LeBron has nothing to do with his current ability, and everything to do with age and future planning. Smith put it very simply. Luka Doncic is 26 years old. He's the future of this franchise. The Lakers want to build around young talent that can compete for championships for the next decade, not around someone who's 41 and will likely retire within the next year or two. That's just basic organizational planning. That's how successful franchises think about roster construction, and as much as it might hurt to hear, it makes complete sense from a basketball operations perspective. Think about it from the Lakers' point of view. You have Luka Doncic locked in, a player who could be the face of your franchise for the next 10 years. You have Austin Reeves, who's 27 and entering his prime. You have other young pieces on the roster who are developing and contributing. If you're trying to build something sustainable, something that can compete year after year, you need to maximize the window around your young stars. And having a 41-year-old LeBron James, as great as he still is, taking up significant salary cap space and minutes that could go to developing younger players, that becomes a difficult equation to balance. There's also the load management factor that we can't ignore. LeBron has been sitting out games this season to rest his left leg, which has been bothering him. Against the New Orleans Pelicans, he sat out for load management. And according to reports, he's expected to sit out many more games throughout the season. Now that's the smart thing to do for his health and longevity. Nobody's questioning that decision. But from a team-building perspective, if you have a max contract player who's going to miss significant time throughout the season, and you have other players who can step up and produce wins without him, that changes the calculus of how valuable that player is to your organization going forward. Here's what I think is really happening with the Lakers, and this is where we need to think about the big picture beyond just this season. The Lakers are in transition. They're moving from the LeBron era to the Luka era. That transition is happening faster than anyone anticipated because of how well Luka has played and how much Austin Reeves has developed. The front office is looking at this roster and seeing a window to compete for championships that extends far beyond this year, but only if they make the right moves to maximize that window. And one of those moves might involve finding a way to move on from LeBron James while he still has trade value and can help another contender. Now, I know that sounds harsh. I know that sounds disrespectful to everything LeBron has done for this franchise, but this is professional sports. This is a business where loyalty only goes so far, and organizations have to make difficult decisions based on what gives them the best chance to win championships. The Lakers have never been a franchise that operates on sentiment. They traded Shaq in his prime, they let Magic Johnson retire, they've made tough calls throughout their history because they prioritize winning above everything else. And if the front office believes that the path to sustained championship contention runs through Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves rather than through LeBron James, then they're going to make that move regardless of how painful it might be for fans to accept. Let's also talk about what this means for LeBron's legacy, because that's an important part of this conversation. For the first time in his 2-decade career, LeBron is not the main man on his team. That's a significant shift for someone who has been the unquestioned alpha on every team he's ever played for going back to his first stint in Cleveland. LeBron has always been the guy that everything runs through, the player that coaches build their entire system around, the leader that sets the tone for the organization. But that's not his role with the Lakers anymore. Luka Doncic is the main guy now. The offense runs through him. The future is built around him. And LeBron has to figure out how to fit into that dynamic rather than being the focal point. To LeBron's credit, he's shown that he can play within that structure. When he's been on the court with Luka and Reeves, he's adapted his game. He's picked his spots. He's still made winning plays without needing to dominate the ball. That's a testament to his basketball IQ and his willingness to do whatever it takes to win. But the question becomes, is that the role LeBron wants at this stage of his career? Does he want to be a complementary player on someone else's team, or would he rather go somewhere where he can still be the main option and finish his career on his own terms? There are several teams around the league that would absolutely love to have LeBron James even at 41 years old. Contenders who need that veteran leadership, that playoff experience, that ability to make plays in crucial moments, teams that would give LeBron a larger role and let him be the primary playmaker. And if the Lakers are open to moving him, which according to Stephen A. Smith they would be, Then we could see LeBron finish his career in a different uniform. That would be strange to see. It would be emotional for Lakers fans, but it might be what's best for both parties at this point. The reality is that the Lakers are 15-4 and playing championship-caliber basketball with Luka Doncic as their centerpiece. That's not going to change whether LeBron is on the roster or not. And if the front office can move LeBron in a trade that brings back assets that help them compete now and in the future, that's a move they have to seriously consider making. It's not about disrespecting LeBron. It's not about diminishing what he's accomplished. It's about doing what's best for the Los Angeles Lakers organization. So where does this leave us as Lakers fans? We're in a fascinating position where we get to watch one of the most talented rosters in basketball compete for a championship right now, while also knowing that significant changes could be coming. Luka Doncic is the present and the future. Austin Reeves has emerged as a legitimate star. And LeBron James, even at 41, can still contribute at a high level, but might not be part of the long-term plans. That's the reality we're dealing with. And how the front office navigates this situation over the next few months will define the trajectory of this franchise for years to come. I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. What do you think about this situation? Should the Lakers trade LeBron James if the right opportunity presents itself, or do they owe it to him to let him finish his career in purple and gold? Do you believe Luka and Reeves are ready to carry this team to a championship without LeBron? And how do you feel about the transition from the LeBron era to the Luka era happening in real time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is the kind of discussion that Lakers fans need to be having right now. If you want to stay on top of every development with this team, if you want detailed analysis and breaking news as soon as it happens, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Here at Lakers News Fan Report, we're bringing you everything you need to know about your Lakers every single day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.